In this lesson, we're going to create this page turn effect. What you see is this page being sort of picked up and wiped over. Let me just turn off the background page so you can kind of see what is going on a little bit better. So it flips over just like so. Looks pretty cool for creating an animated book like this, or you can use it as a cool way to transition one video frame to the next. You can apply this effect to really anything. So let's build this from scratch. So I'm going to open up a new composition or start a new comp, call this book, whatever you want, 1920 by 1080, 5 seconds. First, let's build out our book. So take the rectangle tool. I'm going to choose a background color for the binding and the cover. So let's just do that with the brown, create this rectangle. Cool. So now I'll just call this back. Next, we want to add pages. So click off of our layer, change the fill color to white with our rectangle tool selected. Let's create our page. You'll notice that I have these little guides on my composition. And that's under this button right here, which is the title action save, proportional grid, and guides and rulers option. So if I turn off title action save, I don't have that guide. I turn this on so I can see the center of my composition. So with that on, you have this little plus sign, and that's the exact center. And that helps me create a rectangle like so by clicking and dragging and going perfectly to the center. Cool. Awesome. So that's one page, and we'll call this left page. We can duplicate this just by pressing Command D, and then with the selection tool, which I get to by pressing V on my keyboard, drag to the right, holding Shift down, just like so. And I'm going to put a little bit of space between the two pages like so. I want to make sure that, well, first let's call this right page, and I want to make sure that the anchor point is on the left-hand side of this page. So that's pretty cool, because now if we want, we could create a simple page turn with a 3D rotation. So if we turn on 3D for this layer, press R, and then do a Y rotation, you can see that we can flip this around, which is kind of cool. But there's a more organic way, and that's through our CC page turn effect. But first, let's continue by duplicating our right page. And we'll call this right page top, and then add some text to this page. So let's just click off of our layers. Hello. Let's select our text, make sure it's black so we can see it. Okay. Now I'm just going to put this on the middle of the page, and I'm going to pre-comp both the hello text and the page so that the effect that we apply to it is applied to both. So selecting both of those layers, pre-comping, Command-Shift-C, or right-clicking, choosing pre-compose. I'll call this page turn. So now the page turn has that top layer, or that top right page, and the text. So you can see, and I turned off that right back page. And let's just add some text on top of the right page. Cool. Nice. Okay, so that's going to be on top of our back page, which will appear after our page turns. So let's put that underneath our page turn. Cool, let me close down everything. Just select all, press SS on our keyboard just to close everything down. Now under effects and presets, type in CC page, and you'll see the CC page turn. And let's apply that to our page turn pre-comp. You'll see in our project tab or in the effect control tabs, we have these new options. What we're going to be animating is the fold position. So if you click on this little icon right here, this brings our little target to our composition. And if we hover our mouse over, now we can click where we want this page to start folding from. So let's just click in the middle over to the right. Now we can click that point and drag around, and you can see that our hello page is folding over. It's a little hard to see right now, so let's actually turn off our right page and our cool text. So we can still take that point, which is this little circle right there, and we just have to sort of figure out where we're going to animate it. You'll also notice that the back of this page, it automatically sort of takes what's on the front of the page and makes it a little transparent on the back. And those options are right here under back page. I don't really want that to look like that, so I'm going to turn off the back page. And you can basically reference any other layer you have on this timeline or on this comp to appear on the back page. So if I want the cool text, for example, we can have that hello on the front and then cool on the back. Now it's backwards, and that's because it's as if you're flipping the page over. I'm going to turn that off though. And now when I turn that off, it chooses a paper color, which is sort of this goldish. I'm going to make it more of a white, but a little off-white. So it's a little different than the original whites, which makes it easier to see. And I'm also going to turn the back opacity to 100%. So now we can see that the page is turning. It's not sort of a clear page. So we just have to animate this position. So let's take this point over to the right, set a position for the keyframe for the fold position, and then go forward about a second, and then take that position point and drag to the right to somewhere like there. Okay? If we press U on our keyboard, we can see those two keyframes. We can play through it. That's pretty cool. We can easy ease if we want it to sort of ramp up, make it a little bit more natural. And then if we turn the cool and the right page on in the back, we can see that appear. That's pretty darn cool. So you can do cool things like what I've done in the past is multiply this effect so that the pages are flipping over really quickly and then it lands on a title card or a title page or something like that. Very, very cool things you could do with this CC page turn. You can also affect the radius. So let me turn off the cool on the right page. So the fold radius shows how big it is. And it's, again, kind of hard to see. If I change the paper color, the back of the paper color, you can see a little bit better. So the fold radius makes it sort of more rounded or less rounded. So with more rounded, we might want to change the position of this to something like that. So it's not folding over the front left page. Something like that. So that looks kind of cool too. And we might have to change the front one now too. So we'll bring the front one down here. So changing the fold radius will affect the fold position. Then the light direction, if you rotate that, you can see it adds this glint to the background, which kind of makes it look more realistic too. Say you want to copy this to the page behind, there's something to keep in mind. So first we would have to pre-compose the right page and the cool text. So select both of those. Pre-compose, right click, pre-compose, cool page. Awesome. So it's easy because we can actually just select the page turn, click the CC page turn up here and copy it. So Command C, which copies everything we've changed here plus the keyframes. And now if we go after the hello text page flips over, maybe we want it to start flipping right here. So put our time indicator right there and then paste it, Command V. So now this page starts to flip over. But what happens is it flips over underneath our other page, and that's because this layer is underneath it. And that's because right here we do need it to be underneath, but here we need it to be on top. So what do? We just split this layer. And to split a layer, you can either go up to the Edit menu and go to Split Layer, or Command Shift D. So similar to duplicating, but with that shift, it splits it. And we put this top cool page, the one that has the animation, on top of our page turn. So now here it's underneath, but here with the animation, it's on top. So if we actually go in here and we change the page color, for example, let's just change it to a blue so we can see more clearly what's happening. It folds on top. Okay, so that's just one thing to keep in mind when you are doing multiple CC page turns, that you have to play around with the layering. Awesome. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll move on to another one of my favorite effects in the next one.